FPL Game Week 3 threw a lot of surprises and worked very well for me. In today's video, we are looking at FPL Game Week 4 and seeing which players I'm going to start in my team. Welcome back to FPL Access as we go through my team selection for FPL Game Week 4. So welcome back guys and welcome into my team. Now last week we got 67 points. We did incredibly well and we boosted our overall rank up quite a bit. And on the road where I want to be, I think most of my players returned except for Estepinian, Mbeumo and Johnston. And this lineup is not going to be any different. So let's go quickly and rattle through this. Johnston as my goalkeeper, he's going to stay there as my goalkeeper. He's got Wolves at home. Wolves actually don't look like they can create too many chances. They obviously scored one against Everton. They looked absolutely like they could score against Man United but missed a lot of chances. So I'm very confident in Johnston's ability to keep a clean sheet. The only thing I would say for him is that they have just signed Dean Henderson. Now, from what I'm hearing about Roy Hodgson is that he likes Johnston. Also, he's just been called up for England. He doesn't want to remove him as his number one, but he wants competition between Dean Henderson and Johnson, and I assume that Dean Henderson's going there because he does think that he is good enough to replace Johnston as the number one at Crystal Palace. So I definitely think that Johnson will start Game Week 4, but after that I'm definitely going to be looking to shift him out for Areola or a Pickford almost, or even just an Edison if I've got the money to boost him up to that. Now, going on from that then, I think Estepinian will still start for me. I think I've obviously still got Gabriel against Man United. He will not be starting this game week. I might have played Botman against Brighton if he didn't have a knock, an ankle injury. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to hold Botman, but I'm definitely going to play Estepinian against Newcastle. I don't know how well he'll do defensively. I think attacking returns, he could possibly get an assist or something. Now, Udogie, the GOAT from last week, is definitely going to play. He's got Burnley, and Burnley haven't looked great this season. I still am fearful of how Tottenham play and if they can get out of them out. Obviously, last week they beat Man United, and then obviously they had an expert result against Bournemouth. Just a routine win there. So if they can get past Burnley and win that game, then they actually look a lot more dangerous than I would have said that they would have looked at the start of the season, because I know they've got Sheffield United next, then they've got Arsenal. So I want to back them more. I'm just worried because the Tottenham way is usually do really well and then just have a freak loss against one of these little teams. And maybe that freak loss was in the Carabao Cup. Obviously they didn't do well against Fulham, but Udogie was benched. So I think that bodes well for the future. Now Chilwell is going to play as well. He's got Nottingham Forest. Forest have looked good, especially in attack. Although he's obviously scored in his last 7 or 8 games, I think. So I do think that the likelihood of a clean sheet for Chelsea might be a bit lower in this game, especially if you consider how well they're playing against West Ham. But Chilwell does play far out the field, and he could possibly get something out of that game, but I'm not too confident on that one. Now, the 4-man midfield, plus Mbeumo, he will be in there as well. We've got Martinelli, Rashford, Saka, Bruno. Now, one of those 4 is going, if not 2 of those 4. I think Martinelli is definitely on my radar to remove, and also Rashford. Now, I like how people are saying they want to keep Rashford. He's looked absolutely shite in the opening 3 games. Yes, he got 2 assists in the last game against Forest. But he looked as a mere shadow of his former self, I think, in those games. And I'm a Man United fan. I would say if he's doing really well. I think those 2 assists, we were quite lucky with that. I think one of them was really expertly done from Rashford, just a moment of brilliance that you can get from him. And then the penalty, again, he won that as well. But I'm not sure if he's better than a Maddison or Sterling, who I am looking to get in. Now, just going onwards, we've got Haaland and Jackson. I'm happy with Haaland. Obviously, he's not looked as good as he did last season, but he's got 3 goals in 3 games, I think it is. So you can't really complain with that. That's still technically on record to beat what he got last season. I think he got 36 goals or something. So if he continues with scoring a goal a game, that's 38 goals for the whole season. So that could be very, very well done as well. But I don't think you can really go against a harder captain, especially against Fulham, who look a bit worse now without some of their key players from last season, and maybe they got a bit of second season syndrome. Jackson against Forest, he did very well last week. I do still think I may have picked the wrong Chelsea asset. Obviously, if you look at it you had to get rid of João Pedro for someone. Jackson is going to play, so I kind of had to do that. But I do think that Chelsea Sterling is a lot of a better option, although his underlying stats aren't as good. I feel like Jackson kind of reminds me of Werner. And it's quite funny that Chelsea still have bought another striker who just can't finish their chances. But that is my lineup. On the bench, obviously, is Turner, Gabriel, Botman, and Obama as well for against Luton there. Yeah, that's my lineup. So now let's talk about my possible deadline transfer plans. I'm recording this on the 1st of September, so I am recording this on the day that I am going to think about those transfer plans. So going into it then, I'm getting Martinelli out. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think Martinelli is going to be going for either Sterling or Maddison. I'm leaning away from Foden. I think he's in a void for this week just because of his minutes and just because we have an international break next week where anything can happen for City. Someone could come back from injury, someone could get injured. And I feel like if I wanted to get Foden in, it's a much better chance of doing that after the international break. Obviously, Foden actually plays for England. I think Maddison's been selected as well. I know Sterling hasn't, so maybe Sterling is the safer bet there for not getting injured. Obviously, we had that rumour that Sterling was injured this week, which was false. But yeah, I do think that I think Sterling is the stronger pick, and I think that's what my head is telling me to do. Now, Maddison has been doing very, very well, and I'm a bit worried because we know how like bad Chelsea were last season almost, and how they've looked a bit better. They've got 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. But do I really want to triple up on the Chelsea team, or do I want to triple up on a Tottenham team? Now we just look at the fixtures. It's Burnley, Sheffield United for the next 2 game weeks, and then Arsenal, Liverpool, and then you've got Luton, Fulham. So if we just look at that in general, Arsenal, Liverpool, you don't expect Tottenham to do well in. Really, you think Tottenham aren't going to get much from that game. Maybe against Liverpool they will, but it'll be a bit different. And then Chelsea's fixtures are much, much better for the next 5 game weeks. Obviously, they got Arsenal game week 9, but they've got Forest, Bournemouth, Villa, Fulham, Burnley, which you would expect them to win most of those games. I think maybe they might not get something out of the Forest game. Forest actually look very, very good, but obviously Forest away from home aren't as good. Bournemouth, they should definitely get something from. Villa, maybe not. And Fulham, Burnley, I definitely think they should rack up points. And then after that, from game week 9, they do have a bit of a harder run, obviously playing Arsenal, Spurs, and saying Newcastle. But obviously that gives you time to be able to get them out. You're probably going to wild card in game week 9 with the fixture swings as well. So I'm leaning towards Sterling right now. I'm not going to be telling you if I am going to get him in because I don't honestly know. I'm going to be making my decision up that on the deadline. But yeah, that's where my head's thinking. Now, Gabriel is probably the one that you're like, why do you still have Gabriel in? What's Gabriel doing in your team? He's not going to be dropping from 4.8 million for a while. Like, I don't feel any pressure to get him out. I genuinely think he is going to start against the Man United game. I know I said he's going to start against Fulham. And maybe if he started against Fulham, they wouldn't have drawn 2-2 because they would have had a Partey midfield. Havertz would have been benched. I think that's what they got to do, honestly. So I do think that Gabriel will be moving into the team, and then they'll be able to keep maybe a bit more clean sheets. Obviously, they kept a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, but to be quite honest, they didn't look great against Palace, and they didn't look great against Forest. So obviously, we need to see a bit more from Arsenal, and I think Gabriel coming back in would actually make them a lot better. So this is what I'm going to be telling you guys. I think, yeah, Martinelli out for Sterling or Maddison, so we need to decide on that. And then I'm probably going to roll my other transfer or get Johnston or Gabriel out. So thank you guys for watching another FPL Access video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.